Hello everyone, this is Alexandra from Alien Contact. As you can see, I have a very special guest today, Yvonne Smith. Yvonne Smith is a well-known regression therapist in America. She has been practicing regression hypnosis for over 35 years, specifically for people who have been abducted by aliens or ETs, as some might call them. But I don't want to say too much. I want to sincerely thank her for taking the time to answer my questions today. It is truly an honor to have her here. I believe she hasn't given an interview in Germany or for Germany yet, and I am very happy about that. She has also written 2 books, and the special one is Chosen, which we will discuss as well. But first, I would like to ask her to introduce herself and tell us more about her work. I would also like to sincerely thank Barbara, who is doing the translation for me today, because my English isn't so good. This ensures that Yvonne can understand all the questions I ask in her own language, and for that, I am very grateful to Barbara. You already know Barbara from previous videos, which you can find at the end of this video. Now I hope you enjoy the English version of the interview. This video also includes a special feature, so stay tuned for a surprise.
Yvonne, she introduced you, and she would like you to introduce yourself and see how it started, how you became a therapist for abductees.
Yes, good morning. My name's Yvonne Smith. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and for the last 33 years, I've been specializing in the UFO or alien abduction work. It's, the way I got started is just very difficult to answer because it wasn't really anything I planned. Became very interested in the subject back in the early 80s when I went to see Bud Hopkins, who is he's considered the pioneer of UFO abduction cases, and eventually he became my mentor. I learned how to do the abduction work, the regressions through him by observing him. So it really is, I really feel now, after over 3 decades, that I was directed by whomever to do this work, because, like I said before, I certainly didn't plan it. And I did not plan. I originally planned to work with cancer patients because I had a very close uncle who was like my older brother. He was 41 when he died of cancer. So I thought, I was near and dear to my heart, and I thought, I like to work with cancer patients, and then maybe some abduction cases might be interesting. And it just turned away. It was just the abduction cases came through, and now, it takes up 100% of my practice, and it has been for the last, several years. So I just, I have to say now that I was directed, or I was placed on this path to do this work.
Experiences. I'd like to be, I don't like the word abductions very much. I like the word experiences for myself. Do you have, how were you interested in Bud Hopkins? Did you have any experiences yourself?
I went to see Bud Hopkins or his lecture in the late 80s. At the time in the United States, there were called Whole Life Expo conferences, and they were held all over the United States. My mother, in fact, she's the one that asked me to go with her. She couldn't. So the expo, the conference, was held very close to where we live. And so I drove both of us, and she knew somewhat of Bud Hopkins, but she was very much into the metaphysical. My mother was, very psychic, although we were, born and raised Catholic. It scared her in a way. So when she would get visions or whatever feelings, she would kind of shove it aside, and she didn't want to deal with it. It wasn't until my sister and I got older that we would all sit and discuss it. Mm-hmm. My sister's also very psychic. So usually these abduction experiences begin in very early childhood. Although I do not remember anything in my childhood that would point to an abduction. I mean, there may have been one or two little hints maybe as I look back, but I feel that I was awakened in my early 30s. Mm-hmm. And that's when I went to see Bud, and then I started working with him when I became a certified hypnotherapist. And we had a lot of paranormal activity in our home. And I didn't know it at the time, but paranormal activity and UFO activity intertwine. Almost everybody has both. I didn't know it then, but I certainly do now. And then my younger son, when he was 5 years old, he started saying things that, something was coming into his room and he didn't want to sleep in his room all night. He would end up on the floor next to me, next to my bed. And then as I started seeing people and working with people, I realized that what he was saying was very typical of what little children say at, ages 4, 5, 6 years old. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why I was directed to do this, because here my son was having experiences, and I was just supposed to do this, to help a lot of people. Now I've learned, of course, so much about, paranormal activity at the same time as, UFO activity, and then working with, young children. And of course, this is a family affair. It's intergenerational. So it affects the entire family. So there was just so much to learn, and I'm still learning, because we still don't know all the definitive answers, why they're doing this, and where they're from. And so I'm hoping to get some kind of answers, in my lifetime, so I can continue helping people.
How are you dealing with all the emotions and things when you do hypnotherapies, with all the everything that you're hearing from people and what they're going through, and how are you dealing with those emotions yourself? Because Alexandra says that she herself has things going on in her life, and so she has to, it's very hard for her sometimes to deal with everything. And how do you cope with all of the information that is basically, you get it every day, from people that like me.
Exactly. A therapist, no matter what kind of work they do, they need to learn how to protect themselves from not taking in all the negativity or whatever, emotions or whatever it is. And I just learned to do that from the very beginning. Somebody told me many years ago that I work psychically, but I didn't really realize I do that. But, because I don't plan these sessions. I don't know what I'm going to ask. It's not until I get information, then I ask the question. So, it's just a matter of protecting yourself and having boundaries, not taking this into my personal life and having it affect my family or my, relationships or whatever it is. So, and I've done this so long that I don't even think about it. I just do it.
How many agendas of the ETs or aliens do you know? There are so many different types of aliens that you are also dealing with through the hypnosis or your regression. So she was wondering, how many different agendas are there out there? I'm sure every one of them probably has their own agenda.
Yeah, that's hard to say. I don't. That's the $1 million question of who's doing what. and what the agenda is. But I know that working with probably thousands of people, I still feel that the hybridization program, that's the creating a human and alien babies, creating them together. Um, the hybrid program is very, very central to what they are doing. Where these hybrids are going, I know that now I can say, I feel that they're here already on Earth. Many people feel that they've come across them. You can't tell just walking by them or if they're in a conference. I think some of them have appeared in conferences, but it's just when you engage them in conversation, their eyes are different. They look like our eyes, but yet they could almost see through you or read your mind. They're a little bit different. So, but as far as the others, I have no idea. I'm sure just like here on Earth, there's good people, there's bad people, there's people with agendas. I feel I fear humans more than I do the aliens. Believe it, believe me. But lately, since May of this year, I've been receiving messages through one of my clients from these beings that are telling us, and they're telling other people in different ways. Almost everybody who's been abducted is psychic. They all have psychic abilities or healing abilities, but they're telling us that they're going to be coming here soon. They're going to wait 2025 or 2026, but they say our Earth is, things here on Earth are accelerating. And so they feel they need to start coming down here, making themselves known. And as you can see, you look around the world, it's such a mess in so many places that I can see them coming down. I don't know if they're going to, if they mean they're going to save us from ourselves. I don't know. It's always been they're not supposed to interfere. But apparently people are going to be having more contact, more sightings. They told me they're not going to the government, any government, because they don't trust what they're going to say or do. They're not going to go to any kind of media because they don't want their appearance, or them coming here to be twisted and, like it has been over 70 years. So I think the next, I think we are in a very important time. In my book, Chosen, I talk about the urgency. I coined the term the urgency because experiencers were telling me the last probably, 10 years, they feel like something is going to happen soon. Something is ratcheting up, something's accelerating. And then the last 2 years or so, they're telling me it's happening now. I think we're in the middle of it now. So I feel like whatever is going to happen or happen soon, I feel like we're in it now. The urgency has come upon us, yet I can't pinpoint what that is unless they tell me. I don't want to speculate on what that is.
Okay, Yvonne. Alexandra would like to know if you have had hypnotic regressions yourself and if you learned something about your past or about your alien contacts.
Well, many years ago when Bud Hawkins, who is considered the pioneer of abduction research, he's passed away several years now. When he used to, I'm in Southern California in the United States, and he was in New York. So when he would fly out to the West Coast, he would stay with my family. Actually, when I was married and my two boys were very young, he did a couple of regression sessions with me. So, very, very little came out, and that's not unusual with regression. I was obviously blocked, and it would have taken many more sessions with him to unblock a lot of those memories, which that's what I do with my clients. It's very difficult to just do one or two sessions.
When did you have your hypnotic regression with Pat Hopkins? That must have been quite a while ago.
Oh gosh, early 90s, 90, maybe 1993. And we only did, as I said, two sessions maybe, because we were on opposite sides, of the United States, and we couldn't get together. And there was no one else that.
There was no Zoom at the time, huh?
Yeah.
But did you have a regression with anybody else?
I have not.
If you had any UFO sightings and contacts?
I have not had any sightings, but just as you know, Barbara, it was August, I discovered, as I was getting dressed, a long incision on my lower abdomen.
Yeah, almost, just like me. That was so crazy.
Exactly like yours. Mine was a little bit more open, and it did cause some irritation.
Yes, it hurt. It hurt.
I don't remember anything during that night, but all I know is I did not make that incision. Yeah. So I know, obviously, that I had contact. Something happened.
She can feel there's a big connection with you from the other side, from someone. She said, led to do the work with us, abductees. You were led to do that because it's very important work, and it's to bring things in the open, I guess, and things. And so you were led there, and she feels there's a lot behind that. ET energies or extraterrestrial beings that are focusing on and guiding you. And she can feel the energy behind it now when we were talking. Yeah, she gets those very strong energies that come and let her know what's happening.
So let me ask her, she feels that there might be a being that may come through to give me a message during our meeting, or she doesn't know?
Well, she said there is a being, and she said if her English would be better, she would try to get that being to be with us now.
Oh,
to talk with us, but she did that with me the one time, and I had my uru, my
yes, I remember.
White lady. She came through, and I was talking both. She was talking through me, and I was talking to her in German, asking her German question, and she answered in English. And I was talking German, English. So that's really strange. She said the reason why you couldn't sleep last night very good was also one of the reasons that we have the meeting today, and they want to come through and apparently want to give you a message or something, and she doesn't really know how to do that. And right now it's pushing her. So she's
very strong.
She thinks she might want to put the questions aside and go with that and see what's happening.
Yes, please. If you could try to interpret what they're saying, because they're speaking in English so that I understand, correct?
No problem. Barbara can translate it. It's no problem.
Okay. So that's not a problem. Okay.
Yeah. So you want to do that now? She said, let's try it because she has a feeling something is coming through. And we did that one time with Werner, who wants to come over to see you in January. We did that with Werner. We all closed our eyes, and all of a sudden there was an entity there. So and let's just go with the flow and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get, in case I need to take some notes, because right now, I mean, this is very important because, and I'm not surprised, Alexandra, that you're getting these feelings because
No,
there's
it's
so
no problem. No problem.
I mean, there's so much happening right now.
That
Ist
everything
das
that's coming is
Gefühl,
only good things. No,
genau.
she says we need to get our energies together and close
Okay.
our eyes to see what's coming through. She doesn't know who is it for and what's coming through. We'll find out.
Okay.
Okay, let's do that.
So what do you want me to do? What do I do?
Close your eyes and let feel the energy who comes to you and to us together.
Just relax and yeah, I will translate.
Yeah.
We'll quieten down, and with every breath, exhaling, let go of all the things we don't need in our right now. With every inhaling, we increase our energies and ask our guardian angels for protection. With every inhaling, we increase our energies and our connections, and we're going to ask for contact. Feeling the energy, some energy that wants to come through, and she doesn't know who this energy wants to contact, and it might be also in a form of showing us a picture or something like that. And if you have any feeling, I'll let her know if you have anything happening. And every exhaling, let go of anything that's bothering us or it's holding us back. There's an entity that wants to come through to Yvonne, but something is blocking it. So try to let just everything go, Yvonne, and see what's coming through. I'm Shah with the Galactic Council, and Yvonne needs to know that she's working with us. I have to let her know that she's working with us. And it's very important that she knows that. She will be guided by us. And we will, our human language is crazy. We will guide her. There's a lot of upheaval coming towards the earth in energy and in energies around the world, the planet, and also in your human life, structures are going to crumble, and everyone needs to be strong to help and to be between help people and help and work with us to help humanity survive. That is the message. Holy smoke. Okay, Yvonne. That was, did we hear it? Oh my gosh.
Barbara, are you okay?
He was from the Galactic Council, and they're working with us, and you're working with them. I guess maybe that's why they're taking you up and working with you. But they don't take you by like me. They take you just your soul and your out of body energy. But apparently they're working with you. It felt like a male entity, but he cursed our language because it was strange to them. They don't have language there. But they had to come through with the language.
So he said there'll be lots of upheaval,
Yes.
but he didn't specify anything yet.
No.
And he didn't say when.
It's
I know
coming
they
very soon, very soon. Right now, basically, it's starting right now. That's why we have to be prepared right now. It's not only the planet; it's also the humanity is crumbling. Everything is going to fall apart. That's
interesting because him saying this, it's like right after Trump was voting in again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What was Sean?
Sean, Sean was the name of the entity.
Oh, okay.
Was the name of the entity. That's what he said.
Okay.
Yeah, she said the blockage that you had, that he couldn't get through to you directly, was also a protection for you.
Yes.
So I guess maybe they put a protection for you so not everybody or all entities can zoom in on you.
Yes.
Oh.
So I guess they have to go, like they went through Christina to give you a message. Now they went through me to give you a message.
Right.
So they have to go through others to give you the message.
So they put in, you said they put in a protection around me.
So apparently the blockage that you have, that he couldn't get through to you directly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's your angels or other entities that protect you.
Could be. Yeah, it could be very well. I've always felt protected, all my life. I never understood it, but now I understand it more. But
you're actually working with a Galactic Council too, so now you know.
Yeah. Okay, well, all I can do is be prepared for what's to come. It's just, and
be open for it, don't, that's the thing. That's all we can do too, to be open to accept anything that's coming our way and work with it.
Right, yes.
She wants to ask you if doing a hypnotic regression that you gave to somebody, did you ever see that their eyes changed, or the expression totally changed, or the voice changes, or some other entity came through to them?
Many times when they're going through reliving the experience, the expression does change. Sometimes depending on what is happening, sometimes they become very pale, or sometimes they flush red, because they're going through it. Um, as far as an entity coming through to them, I don't think, because I've done so many of these. If I think I would have remembered, I don't think anything like that came through.
Well, there was Christina.
Well, then, yeah, just that was
Yeah.
yeah, that was very recent, and it was like it wasn't. Yeah, the message just came through for me, and that was the first time in 33 years that that's ever
Yeah.
happened. And now I'm getting messages through Alexandra.
Yeah.
That people do relive their experience in regression.
And some of them get really angry too, huh? Very violent. Because I remember you once telling us about one guy that jumped up and started, and you had to fear for your life because he was fighting the extraterrestrials there that took him.
Yeah, they do try to get up off the couch, because they're reliving it, and they do get angry because they feel that they've been violated. So, as a therapist, you have to be prepared for things like that.
Yeah.
At first, it's very, very frightening, but then now I prepare for it. I'm ready for it,
Yeah.
after all these years.
She's asking you if, like sometimes, another soul, another energy is attached to some person, and under hypnosis. And do you sometimes try to detach that entity, that soul, that energy?
That's never happened during my sessions, an attachment. If a person feels, and I've had people come to me and it sounded like they had an attachment, I refer them to Kim Trotman because I'm not.
She does that one. Yeah.
Trained to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's way before we do any hypnosis.
She said, if you have ever happened to you during hypnotic regression.
David M. Jacobs.
He says that the hybrids are a lot on the planet, but during hypnotic regression, he did also hypnotic regression. He thinks that when you take your subject to a certain instance in their history, that some things that don't actually happen are infused into that from the extraterrestrials somehow. That something is added to. When I'm in regression, I relive everything, and right. So she thinks, or he thought, that sometimes the aliens put things in you to remember that aren't really there, that not really happened. They infuse something.
Well, aliens can be very deceptive. Yeah. They can make someone see something in front of them, say a loved one who's passed over, and the person thinks they see their mother, that died, and in fact it's an alien being, and they can put thoughts in someone to make them feel like that happened when it actually didn't. It's very confusing, and they can be very deceptive.
But does that sometimes come through in hypnosis?
Did what? I'm sorry? Does
that sometimes happen also during hypnosis, that the person gets an image or something that doesn't really belong there?
Oh, yeah. That's happened. And we've had many discussions about that in our Zero meetings through the years, that it's to make a person, they will use whatever they can to make a person feel comfortable and going with them, like, oh, there's my loved one, you know,
Yeah.
and in fact, it was not. And then, of course, they get angry, you know.
Mhm.
So we just, you know, like I said, it's very difficult, very confusing. But it's happened. Oh yeah, even when it came for a person, I was thinking about one case. She saw the entity in her dining room, but the entity became her mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thinking, oh, you know, there's my mother, but then she's thinking, once she got onto the ship, how can that be? Is, you know, and then it morphed into the alien being. Oh my gosh, you know, yeah, during the regression, there was a lot of, you know, F-bombs thrown. These people they get angry, and you can't blame them,
No.
you know, because they feel they were deceived and then using their loved one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
That's true.
It's difficult work. It really is difficult work. It's very draining for me. I try not to do 2 regressions in one day.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very draining. So thank you Alexandra, thank you for the messages. Just gonna keep that in mind and just see what happens. It's a little unnerving, you know, because we
Yes.
don't know what can happen, but it's interesting that came through so strongly after the election. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, love you both. Thank
The
you so
election
much.
is part of that whole change, you see.
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
election is part of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
okay.
Yvonne, thank
Love
you
you
for
so
everything.
much.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Love you,
Okay.
Yvonne.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Starting now in the premium member area, you'll find uncut versions, special news and facts from various topics related to UAP and alien contacts, translated conversations, books, live recordings, outtakes, and much more. The subscription rates are €10, $10 per month, or €100, $100 per year. If you're interested in a premium membership, please send an email to aliencontact69@gmail.com. Thank you very much for your interest. See you next time here at Alien Contact.